Love is a journey. We're doing it all wrong. In order for you to get on the right journey, there's one thing that you might be overlooking. Hey girl, hey, how you doing? Before we move on, I just want to say please stop right now and click subscribe to my channel along with clicking on the bell for notifications. That way you get notified every single Tuesday on when I have a new video out for you. I've gone through many instances where I thought I had found the right one in my life, where I thought I was fully in love, that I would never feel this way again. And then I came to a lot of conclusions that made me believe that I had no idea what the heck I was talking about. I cannot believe that it did not occur to me that I had this process completely wrong. I was the type of person where I would go through these relationships, I would give it my all, I would see the relationship start to fall, I would get very sad and almost desperate to do whatever it took to keep the relationship going. The relationship ended up falling apart. I would hit this rock bottom, I would have this boohoo moment, but then after that I would be like, okay Selina, you have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you have to move forward. That's what we always hear. That's the mentality, is like, you don't let this break you. You have to get up and keep going. And now you have these new lessons in your arsenal. And so therefore you're going to take what you learned and your experience and you're going to apply it to your new relationship. And what I've come to learn is that is the wrong way to look about the situation. Okay, we're doing it all wrong. So if this is you ladies, if you're out there and you've had this belief, you've had this mindset, you've had this thought process happen to you before, but yet you keep stumbling and falling down and you never make the right person, then I want you to pay attention, because I feel like if you understand this properly and you're able to apply it effectively, then you can finally stop getting on the BS roller coaster of a love life that you're on, and you could actually start to see some progress and movement in your love life. I'm going to get very real and I'm going to get very honest with you, because I feel like you hear this, but you think you do enough for it, and it's never enough. It's never enough. Okay, here's the timeline, right? Like, we date, it's a high, it's a high, it's a high, uh-oh, break up, fall down, but then you get back up and then you just start to, you look for somebody, then you find someone, and then you go up high and then break up, and it's just like a heart graph. What actually needs to happen is that you have a relationship, the relationship doesn't work, rather than to continue going on that journey of trying to meet your Mr. Right, you have to circle back to the beginning, because dating starts with you. Let me repeat that. Dating starts with you. So it doesn't matter how many years of dating experience you have. It doesn't matter how many relationships you've had. If you're not circling back to start from square one, then you're always going to continue stumbling and you're never going to reach the finish line. Here's why it's so important and why so many Christian women fail to overlook this one step. They hear you have to go back to yourself. You have to be single for a while. You have to focus on you. Focus on you. Okay, women don't want to focus on them with these self-care tactics, because at the end of the day, the self-care tactics are not making them feel the euphoria that they felt when they were first in love in the first place. And so that you constantly want to speed up that self-care season so that way you can get back to feeling the way you once felt when you were in love with someone. And that's the mistake that we all made in our lives. I constantly thought that a week of self-care, of boohoo crying, now that my tears are all wiped away, now that my mascara is reapplied, I'm ready to hit the streets, I'm ready to go again. But in this time where you're going back to yourself, you have to be mindful of the things that you have to pay attention to. The relationship that you just had left you with a lot of baggage. There's a lot of hurts, a lot of pains, a lot of experiences. There are a lot of good lessons that you can learn, but there's so much stuff that you have to unfold and unpile. And rather than for us to try to process that, we feel like, oh no, it's too hurtful, it's too painful, I don't want to do that, I learned my lesson, so now let me go forward. But you're bringing all of that into your new relationship. So now you have trust issues, you're guarded, you have these walls set up for you. All of this stuff should not be happening in your new relationship. It should not be happening when you start your dating process. You should be able to enter into your dating scene, able to take risks. You should be able to open up to a certain point where you can expose who you are, be comfortable with who you are, know what your values are, know what your intentions are. But so many people fail to have this part of the dating process. A lot of people think that, oh, because I'm single, I'm not dating, therefore I'm not in the dating scene. But you're dating yourself, and that is a part of the journey. And every time you end a relationship, you have to go back to dating yourself first. Every time that you choose not to do that, you are losing more and more parts of yourself to all of these other relationships that fail to work out. So that by the time you actually do find a guy who's worth your time, a guy who values you and appreciates you, who sees your worth and your beauty, you're all of a sudden afraid to let him in. You're afraid to fully trust him. You're afraid that something's gonna happen. You're skeptical because you think this is too good to be true. And this should never happen, because you should never be at a place where you're so guarded and hurt and protected moving forward. You should never be saying it's okay to date and it's okay to find someone new when you feel like that, because that means you still have more work to do on yourself. When I finally decided to be single, when I finally decided to stop paying attention to guys because every guy that I met was taking advantage of me or not having my best interest at heart, honestly, I was shook. I was afraid. I did not like being by myself on a weekend. It was very quiet and uncomfortable, and I felt like a loser, and I couldn't be there. I had to do something else to keep my mind off of how pathetic I was that I was alone on a Friday night. And that was a problem. That was a red flag. If you have a problem being by yourself, if you have a problem with your own self, that you can't be with yourself, what makes you think you're possibly a good catch for someone else to be with you? You don't even like you. Why would someone else come in and like you? Sister, listen. You have to wake up. It starts with you. And if you're not comfortable and confident and secure in you, then it's never going to work or last with someone else. In my most recent book, The Christian Woman's Guide to Dating, How to Keep the Faith While Looking for Love, I go into full detail in chapter 2 about how and why dating needs to start with you. And I go into full detail in the rest of the book about whether good or bad, uncomfortable or insecure, it always goes back to you, because it has to start with you first. You're actually moving forward in your journey when you cycle back to take care of this step. Yes, you're learning lessons from these past relationships, but to be able to learn how to apply those lessons, that is the key. And that is something that we fail to do when we're so desperate to go back to the thing that we once had. That's what happens when you allow fear to get in the way, when you allow depression to come in and overcome you, when you allow all of these doubts to cloud your judgment of making you feel like you're not wanted and you're not good enough to be with someone. It's not about that. It's about understanding you and getting back to you and what you need to feel loved the most. Moving forward without circling back is a huge mistake. It's something I continue to do, and it showed. It showed in my brokenness. It showed in my insecurity. It showed in all of the trials that I had to go through when I finally met Kyle. There were many times when I thought I was going to scare him off because of all of the things I invited into our relationship that should have been dealt with in the past. And likewise, there were so many times when Kyle was getting ready to break it off because he felt like I was just never going to change and I was never just going to let him in. There is a guy out there for you. He's ready. He's willing to do what it takes to have it all, to risk it all for you. But if you're not taking care of you, girl, if you're not focused on you, if you're not starting back with you, if you're not really serious about what you got to do in here and what God has to do to change you, then you can't be mad when things happen. You can't be mad when you fall into the same mistakes. Insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. So if your pattern of love life is the same, wouldn't that be insane to assume that things would be different? the next time you meet someone, take my advice or not. If you want more of my advice, then I encourage you to get my new book. It unfolds why you need to start with you. It uncovers how you can process everything that goes on within you. And it uses God as the compass to help you navigate your love life in a way that is not preachy, that is not judgmental, but that gives you the influence you need to have the foundation that God longs you to have in every relationship that you have. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Be sure to grab a copy of my latest book. I'll have a link below in the description for you to place an order for that. I pray that if you're watching this video, that this applies to you. I pray that this is something that will help you. I pray that this is an aha moment for you. Dating yourself and going back to you is more than just chopping your hair off and getting a whole new wardrobe. It's more than just changing who you are on the outside. It's about what matters on the inside. And so I just pray that this resonates with you, that this grasps your intention enough for you to understand, wow, before you move any further, you need to go back. Every time. So that is the advice that I want to give to you today. I hope that you take it to heart. I hope that this applies to you. This encourages you. If it does, please let me know below in the comments. Please be sure to like this video and share it with someone who you think might need to hear this message as well. I appreciate you so much for supporting me and loving me through these videos, and I can't wait to see you guys again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.